While San Francisco's defense has been one of the more premier defenses across the league under Kyle Shanahan, one area in which they've really struggled is against the pass. In large part, this has been caused by their lack of investment at the cornerback position, but this offseason, Lynch really made the push, signing several veteran corners as well as drafting a second-round rookie. So heading into this training camp and preseason, I really wanted to highlight how San Francisco quietly made their weakness perhaps one of their biggest strengths. When looking at San Francisco's biggest flaw last year, it was probably when they were asked to play nickel or dime defense against a pass-heavy look. This saw Deommodore Lenoir sliding in from that outside cornerback role into the nickelback spot. And surprisingly, Lenoir played pretty lights out in that position, but the player coming in to replace him, Ambry Thomas, often gave up massive plays. And I know that Thomas has shown flashes, but ultimately, he's too much of a liability, especially deep in coverage where he often draws flags. So heading into this training camp, I would argue the most important player to watch is Isaac Yiadom. Yiadom last year for the Saints had 14 passes defended, 1 interception, and he also held quarterback to a completion percentage of just 48.9%. And luckily for San Francisco, they were able to just give him a 1-year prove-it type deal, and with Yiadom only being 28, he's entering the prime of his career and finally looks like he's figured it out. So far this offseason, Yiadom is already arguably San Francisco's second best corner, and he showed off solid reps against all of their stars on the field currently. And once you start diving into the player Yiadom is, he fits exactly what San Francisco wants out of a corner. He comes in at 6'1" and around 190 pounds. He also ran his 40-yard dash in 4.5 seconds, and his long arms make it so he can absolutely destroy a receiver in press coverage. He's so effective, in fact, often it leads to such a disruption of the route, the quarterback just simply decides to go elsewhere. And unlike his predecessor in Ambry Thomas, when he's deep down the field in man coverage, Yiadom stays in the receiver's pocket, and while he doesn't run a 4.4, he doesn't really seem to have any problems covering faster receivers at the NFL level. Perhaps more important to San Francisco though, is Yiadom's ability to play zone coverage, and here he has an excellent understanding of his assignment and how the quarterback wants to attack that. This allows him to get a little bit tricky in coverage, where sometimes you'll see him playing more off than usual, and that's only to bait the quarterback into making a costly error. Furthermore, when the ball is in the air, whether it be a short pass or a deep pass, Yiadom doesn't panic and draws limited flags. And as highlighted by his 14 passes defended last year, it's not that he's just sitting there getting caught on all day, he's going up and attacking those balls. He was so solid as a corner last year, the only one graded higher on San Francisco's roster currently is Charvarius Ward. I'd also argue Yiadom is one of San Francisco's better tackling corners. Last year for the Saints, for instance, you would see him have perfect run fits, as well as just lighting up some running backs. And so far this offseason for San Francisco, it looks like Yiadom's displayed all of those skills and some. He's done an excellent job whether facing Deebo Samuel or a first-round rookie. So heading into this training camp, I have Yiadom as one of the biggest names to watch. And with a multi-year and multi-million-dollar contract on the line, I believe he is going to go off for San Francisco, and they're going to have one of the better DB groups across the entire NFL. This is more so the case when you throw in the addition of Renardo Green from Florida State. Like Yiadom, so far this offseason, Green has been able to look nearly unbeatable in coverage while also showing off his aggressive play style he was known for at Florida State. And once pads do come on this week, I think we're only going to see him continue to improve his game. But during his time at Florida State, we saw him shut down the likes of Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr., both first-round picks. During this offseason with San Francisco, Green was immediately asked to play the nickelback position opposed to the outside. But like his time in college, he's already been able to have great reps against first-round pick Ricky Pearsall. Where Green is strongest is in his press man coverage, where he can disrupt a wide receiver's timing with the quarterback. But he also does a good job of breaking on routes and zone coverage as well. While both of these skills are necessary to be successful as a nickelback, one of the biggest reasons I believe Nick Sorensen, San Francisco's defensive coordinator, is working Green in that nickelback is his willingness and ability he showed off to tackle during his time at Florida State. So with pads coming on, it's going to be interesting if Green is able to keep up the same aggression he had at the NCAA level. Heading into this season, it's not that I necessarily think Renardo Green's going to start immediately, but I think San Francisco really loves the depth he offers. It's not that Green can just play one position in the secondary. He can play nickelback, outside cornerback, and I would argue could even fill in at safety if required. This also gives San Francisco a cost-effective option if, let's say, Lenoir wants to move on. Ultimately, with the additions of Green and Yiadom this offseason, it does appear San Francisco has solved their biggest weakness on the defensive side of the ball. Well, that's as long as they continue their play during this training camp. But I'd like to hear your thoughts on San Francisco's corner position and who you think is going to really go off during this training camp period. It would also mean a lot if you liked and subscribed, and as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.